Welcome back, everyone. My name is Patrick. You're watching the Oilers Rundown. Well, yesterday, the Edmonton Oilers got their brand new goaltending coach in Peter Aubry, and we'll see what kind of effect he can have on Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard. And at this point, we're wondering if Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard will be the Edmonton Oilers goaltenders going forward here. All of the talk as of late is that the Edmonton Oilers are going to go with those guys at least going into the season. But Oilers insider Bob Stauffer did mention last week that the Oilers are going to keep an eye on the waiver wire around training camp and see which goaltenders become available. So as I mentioned yesterday, guys, with Peter Aubry coming in as the Oilers goalie coach, Arvid Soderblom with the Chicago Blackhawks was a target I looked at as someone who could be available from the Blackhawks. They've got Brossoit there. They've got Spencer Knight there. Great cap hit. Could the Oilers be interested in Soderblom? There's definitely a fit there. He's worked with Peter Aubry in the past. And today, I thought I'd take a look at some other targets that the Edmonton Oilers could go for in goal here going forward. Insider Frank Saravalli, along with Bob Stauffer, mentioned that the Edmonton Oilers did have interest in Artur Sheilofs, who was moved to the Pittsburgh Penguins by the Vancouver Canucks the other day. Obviously, a trade between the Oilers and Canucks would be complicated. The Canucks probably don't want to play Sheilofs multiple times a year. But with Sheilofs now off the board, that did open up some other possibilities with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And insider Bob Stauffer did bring up a couple names that the Edmonton Oilers will likely be keeping an eye on going into training camp. So I thought we'd take a look at a few of those names here today. So the first name is Tristan Jarry with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and obviously with the Penguins acquiring Artur Sheilofs, this does open up the possibility that Tristan Jarry could be moved here. Insider Jeff Merrick of Daily Faceoff did bring up possibly Pittsburgh retaining 50% of Jarry's $5.375 million contract, which goes for the next 3 seasons. It does not need to be said. It's very obvious here. This is a huge gamble for the Edmonton Oilers if they were to pursue this trade. They have Skinner and Pickard for one more year. If they want to change out both goaltenders next summer, they can. If they were to acquire somebody like Tristan Jarry, who has been a successful goaltender in the past, he's got a tie to Edmonton with the Edmonton Oil Kings, but in 36 games played last year, a 3.12 goals against average and .893 save percentage. It's been a while since Tristan Jarry has looked good, and with 3 years left, even at 50% retained, I don't think Tristan Jarry is the solution here for the Edmonton Oilers, but possibly it is something that they look at here going forward. We'll have to wait and see. One of 2 potential goaltenders mentioned by Bob Stauffer yesterday was Nico Daw of the New Jersey Devils. He's got a cap hit of $812,500 with 1 year to go. In 6 games played last year in the NHL, he had a 1.60 goals against average and a .939 save percentage. Obviously very impressive there. However, in 34 games played in the AHL with the Utica Comets, a 3.16 goals against average and an .893 save percentage. So obviously looking at his numbers, not quite as impressive in the American Hockey League, but with that record that he has in 6 games last year in the National Hockey League, there could be a goaltender here, and the New Jersey Devils have Jay Gallen and Jacob Markstrom on the main club, so Nico Daw is definitely one of those guys that will be on the waiver wire that the Edmonton Oilers could definitely look at scooping up. The second name that Bob mentioned was Michael Dpietro of the Boston Bruins. This was a guy that the Edmonton Oilers also looked at in free agency, I believe. He also has a cap hit of $812,500 and is signed for the next 2 seasons at that cap number. Dpietro didn't appear in the NHL last season, but in 40 games in the AHL with the Providence Bruins, he had a 2.05 goals against average and a .927 save percentage. Very impressive. And once again, the Boston Bruins have Yonas Corpusalo and Jeremy Swayman ahead of Michael Dpietro, so this is a guy that should definitely be available. So we'll see what kind of avenue the Oilers go here. They have Tristan Jarry as an option, possibly at 50% retained. We don't know if the Pittsburgh Penguins are necessarily wanting to do that, but the Penguins do have the 3 goaltenders there now, as do the Boston Bruins. If the Bruins wanted to hang on to Michael Dpietro as their backup and make Yonas Corpusalo available, that's another goaltender that could be of interest to the Edmonton Oilers. He's also got 3 seasons left. His cap hit is $4 million. In 27 games played last year, he has a 2.90 goals against average and an .893 save percentage. So for $4 million, Don't really like that one. Maybe with some retention, like the Tristan Jarry situation, we could see something unfold there. But right now, Michael Dpietro and Nico Daw, mentioned by Bob Stauffer, are definitely the two most intriguing options for the Edmonton Oilers going into training camp. But I'm sure more names will come up in the meantime, but I thought I'd take a look at those four names today. And kind of interesting that the Edmonton Oilers were in the bidding for Artur Shilovs, but ultimately he ends up in Pittsburgh with a interdivision trade there between the Oilers and Canucks, just too difficult to pull off. So that's all I had for now, guys. Let me know your thoughts, guys, on those goaltenders in the comment section below. If this is your first visit to the channel and you like what you see, please consider liking and subscribing for all the latest Oilers content. You've been watching the Oilers Fanatic. Thanks for being a fan.